What are evidence-based resources for common libertarian criticisms? Imagine trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. That's often what critics say about libertarian ideas. They argue that libertarianism is too idealistic or ignores real-world problems. But how do libertarians respond with facts and examples? Let's look at some solid evidence they use to answer these common criticisms. First, critics claim libertarianism is utopian and has no real examples. Libertarians point to historical cases like certain periods in American history when less government meant more growth. For example, during the late 1800s and early 1900s, America saw rapid economic expansion with limited federal regulation. They also cite Hong Kong's economy before recent changes, which thrived with minimal government interference. These real-world examples show that less government can sometimes lead to more prosperity. Libertarians also use hypothetical models, like economic simulations, to compare systems fairly. These models help show how libertarian policies might perform in different scenarios, without relying on idealized visions. Next, critics say property rights lead to unfair outcomes and ignore past injustices. Libertarians respond by emphasizing that property rights need clear origins. They often reference John Locke's idea that mixing labor with resources creates ownership. But they also admit that in complex societies, applying this is tricky. Instead of ongoing redistribution, they suggest fixing rules to be fair moving forward. They argue that transparent laws can help address injustices without creating new ones through continuous redistribution. Some critics worry libertarianism ignores social welfare and vulnerable populations. Libertarians cite economic research showing that free markets, combined with strong rule of law, tend to raise living standards overall. They believe voluntary charity and community efforts are more effective and morally sound than forced redistribution. Studies on welfare programs reveal that large government aid can create dependency and inefficiency. Decentralized solutions like local charities often target needs better and avoid some pitfalls of big government programs. When it comes to intellectual property, critics say libertarian views are inconsistent or harmful to innovation. Libertarians are divided on this. Some see ideas as non-rivalrous, meaning one person's use doesn't stop others from using them. They argue that strong IP laws can create artificial scarcity and hinder the spread of knowledge. Others point out that licensing and market incentives have helped companies develop new technologies. They highlight cases where intellectual property rights helped startups grow and innovate, balancing the need to reward creators with the benefit of wider access. Finally, critics say libertarianism assumes people are purely self-interested and unrealistic. Libertarians respond by clarifying that they don't believe humans are only motivated by self-interest. Instead, they say institutions should account for all motivations, including altruism. Psychological studies show that people value freedom and dislike coercion. Markets and civil society can harness different motivations, encouraging cooperation without relying solely on government enforcement. Libertarians also use practical examples from law and economics. They analyze how deregulation changes industries, how private property encourages better resource use, and how different legal systems impact social order. These studies, like those by Ronald Coase, show that real-world policies often produce better outcomes when they respect individual rights and voluntary exchange. They invite critics to compare actual results of libertarian-inspired policies with those of more regulated systems, emphasizing that no system is perfect but some tend to work better overall. In the end, libertarians relying on a mix of historical data, economic theory, and case studies to back their claims. They encourage honest discussion based on evidence, not just ideals or assumptions. Their goal is to show that with the right rules and respect for individual choice, societies can become more prosperous and free.